Yo, what's going on, everyone? It's Brian and Jim here with Drink a Beer and Play a Game, and welcome to another episode of the Power Hour.
How's it going, everybody? Big episode number 65. How you doing, Brian?
Oh, Jim, this whole staying indoors is finally really starting to wear me down. Getting a bit tired of it.
Yeah, we caved a little bit. We went to a park on Saturday.
Of course you did, Jim. Of course you did. But haven't you been, doing takeout and getting fast food pretty frequently?
Yeah, at least once a week, supporting our local businesses, as they say.
I don't think P.F. Chang's is a local business, Jim.
Right, how's McDonald's going to survive without me?
I did support a good local business by going to that bar we love, Iron Abbey, and getting those amazing wings this weekend.
Oh, did you? Nice.
Oh, dude, it was so glorious. And it was one of those, I was just like, yeah, I'm just going to order way more than I should. And, yeah, it was so worth it.
Yeah, if you're ever in Bucks County outside of Philadelphia in Pennsylvania, definitely hit up Iron Abbey. It's right next to a Brazilian steakhouse. Iron Abbey's a great brew pub kind of deal. Yeah,
they have the largest or second largest selections of craft beer on tap. And, I mean, the sheet they give you, it's like 70 or 80 beers on tap, and they have a bottle shop right above. So, yeah, just a place that we love going to, and it has my favorite buffalo wings. So, yeah, other than that, though, Jim, there's well, I guess we'll get into it. I was going to say there's a lot of craziness going on, but first, let's go through the old standards.
All right, starting off, I guess, with what we are drinking. Bri, what are you drinking?
So I'm finishing off the last two beers of that Victory Mystical Monkey Pack with Tart Monkey. If you guys followed us on Saturday, I did my beer battle, and it was among 4 different beers, and the only ones I have left are these Tart Monkeys. All the beers were really good, but once again, if you don't follow us on Twitter, please follow us there. And every week, either Friday or Saturday, I just do a comparison of the beers. This particular one, I call it the easiest sour beer you could ever drink. Like, if somebody's never tried a sour and tries to start with something like Sour Monkey, they'll probably get turned off. But if you start with this, where it's just a little bit sour, and it's mostly like this guava flavor, low alcohol, very session-y, it's really, really damn good.
Cool. And I am drinking the Single by the Hardywood Brewery. It is a Belgian-style blonde ale coming in at 6.2% alcohol by volume and 30 IBUs. The color is a sunshine golden veiled by Belgian ale yeast. It's unfiltered, unpasteurized, and uninhibited, according to its brewmaster. This blonde beauty's dedicated body is framed by tropical fruit flavors that enter into a near-perfect balance with spicy hop aromatics. The Single's finish is mellow and dry and culminates in a truly ethereal experience. Cheers!
You know, I try to think what I hate the most about it. And you know what it is? It almost annoys me because you say that with such zest and zeal, and there's a little flair to your tone that you don't do in anything else in your life. So I want that attitude for everything.
I don't do it with my podcast. I don't do it with my reviews.
But you do it to just piss me off.
Man, I should really just go for that more. It's bad when I do my own videos, or since we're quarantined, we're obviously recording our parts for when we do reviews separately. And as I'm doing them, I'm like trying to put inflection in there and trying to spice it up. And then as I'm listening back to it and trying to make it be listenable with all my pregnant pauses, I'm like, God, I'm a monotone piece of shit. Ugh.
Some would say you're like Squidward.
Yep. Yes. Someone called me Squidward, and I was like, yeah, he's talking about me. And anytime anyone talks about the nasally voice guy, I'm like, yeah, it's probably me.
Jim, here's what I will say.
SpongeBob.
Between me and all of our friends, you might have dozens upon dozens of nicknames. I don't see that one as well.
Wow.
I never see either of us as that. I mean, the fact that you just made that sound like kind of contradicted me as I was saying it. So you kind of fucked yourself. But no, you and I think what's funny is you and I both, I think, just have that, like, we get, I don't know if they're allergies or whatever. We both tend to get nasally. I know I get stuffy as shit. Like, I watch some old videos. And I'm like, Jesus, I was so stuffy back then. But like, I never thought of you as sounding like that until you just said it exactly like him. So, congrats, Jim. You're now Squidward.
Yeah, what are you going to do? I had a good run.
No, you didn't.
Yeah.
It was a terrible run.
That's a good point. Shit.
Now, Jim, I have to ask you.
Uh-huh.
And I'm afraid to ask you.
Uh-huh.
Because every time, it's kind of... What? What are you playing?
Well, Brian, I've moved on from Streets of Rage 4 on the Switch to Streets of Rage 4 on the Xbox because I'm trying to get some achievements out of the way. Actually want to do a little achievement hunting. Me. Brian, I got the golden turkey back to its home. It's a rare diamond achievement.
Jim?
What?
You do see the pathology in that, right? Like, how messed up that is?
Oh, yeah.
If you had said there's different... If this was 2012, Jim, I'd be all for it and I'd understand it. But you haven't cared about an achievement for Xbox in how long?
Probably about 6 years at least, if not longer.
Yeah, like what was the last game before Streets of Rage that you were like, oh man, I really need to try to get this achievement? Or even looked at achievements?
Jesus. I mean, I guess when I was playing through BioShock, I was like, oh, let's see if I can bang out a few more during this playthrough. But, like, actually, like, full-on achievement hunting, ooh.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a toughie. Maybe back when I was playing, like, Enchanted Arms in 2011, something like that. And you got, like, all 1,000 achievement points just by playing through the story. And I went, oh, boy.
I actually, for the first time, I think because I was playing through either Fallout or Streets of Rage, whichever one, I like that they have the little thing that'll show you how rare it is that people unlock it.
Yeah.
And though that makes it more interesting because I want to get the rarest ones. But even now, like, I don't actually care that much. It's just something like, I'll take a peek at. But yeah, that's... All right. Well, at least you're not playing a bad game. I'll give you that.
Oh, boy. Improvement.
It is. So, I went back. I did Streets of Rage. Just the level select on, like, all the different difficulties trying to get, like, the S ratings. And, goddamn, I realize all it comes down to is timing out your combos and just making enemies last long enough with, like, slower punches to just keep chaining together the combos. Because I've realized, like, no matter how fast I got through a level or how much health I had, it didn't seem to make as big of a difference just getting those combo points. So it's like, just take your time. I mean, at least for me, it was just take your time, get the highest possible combos, and time is like probably second most important, and health is third.
Yeah, and once you get on those harder levels, just beating the free levels is hard enough.
Oh, dude, yeah. The amount of enemies is insane.
Yeah, I beat it all the way on hardest, and I am like stuck on the second level on Mania because Mania is just unbelievably.
Now you've played it enough. Did you unlock all the Streets of Rage 3 characters?
Yeah.
Who's your, like, you've played as everyone, I assume.
Mm-hmm.
Who's your go-to?
You know what? It's pretty much gone to Adam in Streets of Rage 4. Like, all the tanks, they all suck now from, like, the older games. Like, Max is, like, basically putting yourself on extra hard mode. Playing as Zan is putting yourself on hard mode because they just don't build combos. So, and they're too slow. So they're not as overpowered as they were in their respective games. Like, when I was playing through... I was doing an arcade mode run, which is the 1cc mode. And I did it at Streets of Rage 3 Axel, and I got up to, like, level 11, which is the best I've done so far. And that was on medium. Like, that's just having limited lives and no continues is brutal enough. So,
yeah. Like,
I'm finding myself using, like, a guy like Axel more, and Adam is pretty much my go-to at this point.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah, Adam, I said, I mean, when we made that tier list, I said right off the bat, he was my first S. Because I was like, he's just, like, the best combo for this game, for speed, for power. It just made sense. But yeah, no, so I went through, I was playing that for a little bit. I've been playing a decent amount more Call of Duty again for no reason other than I just was dicking around in multiplayer.
Uh-huh.
And I finally decided to start going back through a game. I can't remember if it was one of those free downloads or I got it for like $2 or $1 from Xbox, but it's called The Final Station. And the best way, it's an indie game, the best way I can describe it is half train simulator, half zombie side-scrolling shoot 'em up. Think of that game. Remember I had you try out that Dead Pixels?
Yeah.
Kind of in that style, but a lot more, a lot better, like graphically. Like there's a lot better lighting, but that general aesthetic, and like picking up the guns, different types of zombies, and your whole thing is you're as conductor going from city to city. And like while you're on the train, you gotta keep certain passengers alive, and you gotta like make sure the train is still operating. It's actually been pretty damn fun. Now, I've only sunk like 2 hours into it, but it's surprisingly something I think you would like because it's a pick up and play. You can like blast through a couple levels, and the difficulty curve is one of those nice ones. It's not like you get to the third level and it just fucks you in the ass. It's like, oh, it's a slow increase to like introducing you to new mechanics until it gets crazy.
Oh, that sounds pretty fun. Yeah, like Dead Pixels I had a good time with. Right, not only did I play that with you, we did a review that no one watched.
That's because it's an unknown game, Jim.
Very unknown.
And talk about a shame, because when we got that, didn't we say it was like 99 cents or like $1?
It was a buck.
It was like something. And between the Easter eggs, the music, the different playable things, that is probably one of the most underrated games I've ever played.
Oh, easily. Just lost in a sea of other retro, 8-bit looking, beat 'em up.
Zombie games,
yeah.
So, yeah, that's right now. That's kind of all I've been... and I'll save it, but I started trying out that Resident Evil 3, that RE Resistance game.
Yeah.
The multiplayer asymmetrical. Whew, that thing needs some work. The best thing I can say is it is one of the coolest concepts of the asymmetrical 4 survivors fight through an area that's controlled by a mastermind who sets up enemies and locks and gadgets. Sounds really cool. And this is one of the first games I realized sometimes it makes sense to have skill-based matchmaking, because I entered as a rank 1 for my first 3 games, and in every game I went against masterminds who were in the levels 40s or 50s, and this is one of those games you unlock significantly stronger enemies and things to like throw at people, so you just have to play. So there is a matter of they just had crazy strong stuff, plus have played the game. They wiped out our entire team before we left Area 1, and there's like 3 or 4 areas in every map.
Jesus.
So it was like ridiculous. And when I tried to play as a mastermind, I waited up to 10 minutes, and I could never connect to a server. So there's something wrong there, too. So
yeah, I
maybe
I heard it's a little messy.
Maybe if I can actually play it, like a legit amount, I can give a better opinion. But that'll come at a future Resident Evil 3 Remake review that'll be coming out.
Oh, boy. All right, Bri.
All right.
What do you think? Time for Patreon?
Oh, yeah.
All right. www.patreon.com/DrinkABeerandPlayAGame, where for as little as $2 per month, you can ask a question that we will answer on this Power Hour podcast. So, Bri, first up this week comes from our buddy Game Whisperer Dean. Who is better at DDR?
Dance Dance Revolution. Have you ever played that?
Not really intensely, outside of like 1 or 2 times at like an arcade.
Yeah, I've never played it at home. Actually, I don't think anyone we know has that at home.
I think I might have a version on the Wii at my parents' house. Actually, my parents are like,
and the pad too.
Yeah, I have the pad. Yeah, like I didn't even buy it for me. Like my parents were like, "Oh, this will get us moving," and of course, I never used it, and I used it like 3 times.
So, the weird thing is, I think when it comes to physical rhythm, I'm better than you.
Right.
But you are a drummer and much more musically inclined, so you understand rhythm better. but you are terrible with body movement.
Correct.
So I'd probably say me.
Yeah, I'd probably say you, unless I turned out to be one of those fatty savants that you see on YouTube. But those guys are lifers. I don't think I'm going to be reaching that point.
Yeah, like I'll never beat you in a like rock band game, but yeah, DDR probably be a better shot.
All right, next up from G to the next level.
Hey, we should make a drinking game of that.
Oh Jesus, yeah, I guess we should. Hey Jim, if you could travel to Brazil and bring back any 5 Master System or Mega Drive games, what would you bring? And Brian, what 5 import games do you want most? Cheers. All right, while you think, I can probably bang out a few. So, for the Master System... All right, for the Mega Drive, I'll say the port that Tectoy did of Duke Nukem Forever. I've never played it, don't know if it's even remotely playable, but Duke Nukem on the Sega, how can I say no? And then for the Master System, I would get me some Street Fighter 2, even though it's a rough port. Some Mortal Kombat 3, even though it's a very rough port. And then Streets of Rage 1 and 2, just because they're stupid expensive up here.
So I'm thinking about it, and I'm trying to look up the names because I used to have them. Kind of similar to you, Jim, like your weird thing about buying Japanese specific N64 games. I know there was a couple Japanese exclusive PS1 horror games that I was always like, maybe I'll get that. But I never got around, and like I said, for the life of me, I can't remember. I know there was at least 2 of them. There was a absolutely random Underworld game for either PS1 or PS2 that only came out in Europe. That drove me crazy because I really liked those movies.
Yeah, you did.
And the game, I can't tell what it looked like. The best I could tell was like kind of like hack and slash-ish, I guess is the best way to describe it.
I can imagine it being like a poor man's Devil May Cry or something like that.
Yeah, something to that effect. And then Sweet Home. Was that Japanese exclusive as well?
Yeah, for the Famicom.
Yeah, so I would get that for sure. And, kind of stuck on the last one. Because I honestly, I'm one of those people, if I realistically can't play it, I don't waste my time really looking into it. So, yeah, those really off the top of my head. Of course, they're more horror themed, surprise, surprise, but
yeah,
I can't really think of any imports even that aren't horror that have ever really interested me. So, good question. I really like that one.
Yeah. Next up, Nerdy Dick 91. What is a game that you refuse to play?
Oh, Jim, turn around and show your library.
Son of a bitch.
The game I refuse to play. Well, for sure, I'll never play Flower. Because I've given Jim so much shit about it now.
2 hours, Brian. 2-hour game.
I just will never play it. Unless somebody signs up for our Patreon exclusive.
For $5, you can make
tier.
For $5, you can make Brian play Flower.
That's the only way I'm playing goddamn Flower.
And anyone who's put your $5 tiers in, don't change it. I want more money.
Is there any other games I can think of? See, when I think of games I don't want to play, I think of shit you have. But that's a really good question because I'm trying to think of like main series games that I'm like, nah, I don't really ever want to play. Yeah, I'll just stick with Flower for right now. That's another one. I do like that question a lot.
I will probably.
What about you, Jim?
I'll probably go with any Uncharted after like 3 and up, just because. I'm kind of like you, where if I'm playing a new series, I want to start with 1 so I can know the whole everything and the evolution and blah 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 blah. And I just found 1 to be so goddamn boring. And then I tried to start 2, and I know everyone loves 2, and I should give it another chance, but I played it for 3 hours and I went, I can't do it again. So, I'll eventually force myself to play through Uncharted 2 just because of how much it's loved, but I really doubt I'll have any desire to play through any of the other ones after that. Maybe they'll make a liar out of me, but it would have to blow me away to really ever make me come back to it.
All right, so a minor twist on what he just said, because this is something I can answer a little more honestly. You and I have talked. We both have. There's some blasphemous series that we've never touched, and like that every gamer supposedly loves or whatever, and for whatever reason we've just never really committed to it.
Right.
For me, other than a very small amount of time, and I mean small, I've never played any of the major Kirby series, and it's a game that I doubt I'll ever truly get to, unless like we do a focus thing like through the site and say we want to focus on them.
Right.
I'm sure they're great games, and there's not even something I can point to, but that general thing, that and I'll throw out there any Yu-Gi-Oh or any of that stupid shit like card games for the actual like systems. There's just nothing that will ever draw me into wanting to play those.
Fair enough. I think with Kirby, with you, I want to say maybe they're too cute. Maybe
I thought about that, but then I'm like, that's most of Nintendo. Like that's what Mario is. Mario's just as cute as Kirby. I mean, Kirby's obviously.
Kirby's way cuter. How dare you, sir?
Okay, Kirby's cuter. I you know what it is? It's maybe it is the too cute factor. Maybe it's like I don't know. It's like to me, Kirby is the cute child between Mega Man and Super Mario.
I can see that. You're breaking Ian Ferguson's heart with that answer, Brian.
Like I said, I'm sure they're great games, but that's nothing. Yeah, that's like a series I've never even considered. Like I regret not being able to go through and play all the Final Fantasies. I regret not being able to go through and beat all the Legend of Zelda games, including the handhelds. But I know I want to, and I will get to it. Never even occurred with me with Kirby. Do you have any like other than your Uncharted? Do you have something like that where it's like, for one reason or another, you know you're probably just never going to actually commit to a series?
Oh yeah, no. What do you call it? Unless we, like you said, unless we commit to doing it for the page, Assassin's Creed. I never got to the older ones, and there's like 1,000 of them now. So it's just something that's like I don't have the time and really either the desire to jump into it. I know a lot of them, the early ones are really good, and then they're kind of hit or miss after that, and people love the series, but I'm just like...
The latest ones are apparently amazing.
Yeah.
There was like a bunch
Odyssey
of in-between that were...
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, I hear they're amazing, too, but...
So it's funny you said that, because last year is when I started. I beat one last year. I started two, and yeah, the games take a long time. They are really, really, really well done, but I'm just like, yeah, that's a series that's going to take me a really, really long time to get through.
And I've played so many like sandbox mission-based games already at this point. Like, I don't need another one.
Yeah. No, I hear you. So that's, like I said, Nick, that was a great question. So cheers, bud.
Yep, definitely. Next up, Eric Lowacki. Based on everything that's been put out, do you guys think the PS5 will be worth buying at launch?
What's the, do we know what the price is?
I don't.
Or suggested price?
I don't think so
I
yet.
assume $500 or $600.
It'll probably be like that.
Here's the deal. If you're a current-gen gamer and you want to play current-gen games, then it's absolutely worth it. Whether it ends up with all the backwards compatibility or not, to me, that's like a secondary thing, because... that would be like asking me back in the day, would it have been worth it to get the PS2 brand new? Yes, it would. The jump might not seem as crazy, but I kind of felt the same way. Like, I at first wasn't completely sold on even like the PS3 to PS4 or Xbox 360, Xbox One. And there's a big difference. And I was like, could it be that different? And the footage I've seen so far from the PS5... it still blows my mind that I can still be impressed. Like, I keep thinking, like, we've pretty much hit that place where I'm not impressed anymore. And then I see, I'm like, oh, goddamn. Okay, this does look good.
Right, now we have White Source ray tracing.
Damn it.
Teraflops.
Jim, for someone who's used the term charming and try to suggest graphics in some of the games you've said are good, you better goddamn appreciate.
Oh no, the video they showed was impressive. Don't get me wrong, but I'm like, yeah, it's the engine you can use, but anyone can make an engine look pretty. So,
but here's the deal: are you going to say that there wasn't a big jump between Xbox One and 360?
You know what?
PS4 and PS3.
That's funny because at first I would definitely say no. I think it's like any generation where it really takes a couple years for them to really figure out the hardware.
Sure.
So, like, yeah, at first, no, but then eventually it's like, okay, yeah, there is a marketed difference between, say, Call of Duty Infinite Warfare and, like, Call of Duty Black Ops. You know, shit like that. So, yeah, there is a difference. I still think this latest generation wasn't a huge leap forward, but I think with this next generation, yeah, probably. Plus, I didn't have, like, the Pro or the X version, so I didn't get to play in 4K, and I don't have a 4K TV either, so I'm sure that makes a world of difference as well, but...
And that'll be the thing. I think that, to your point, you just hit the nail on the head. I think this next gen is going to be the one that starts making people be like, okay, time to make sure I have the 4K TV. Time to make sure I have X, Y, and Z. I think the big seller for current gens are games like the latest Grand Theft Auto, whatever the latest Bethesda game is going to be, whatever those ones that can utilize that engine, like the big stalwart series, right. That's going to be the ones that show off, like, oh, hot damn, this game looks crazy. So, yeah, is it worth it? Yes, if you're really into it. If you're even semi-casual, just wait for it to drop. Who knows, like, depending on when it gets released, if it takes 6 months, if it takes a year. I'm sure there's going to be a lot of games being released for both systems, like the old system and the new system, and then they'll just hit that point usually a year after when they're like, okay, we're only making for the new system, and that's like your cutoff. That's when it's time to just bite the bullet. But right off the bat, assuming it's not, if it's like comes in at 700 or 800, then fuck no, don't do it. Just wait. But, you know, it's years and years of entertainment, so whatever you put a value on.
Yeah, I mean, the PS5 is going to be... They've announced it's going to be backwards compatible with PS4, and I can only assume they'll do, like, you know, a software, you know, eShop kind of backwards compatibility for the rest. So, as far as right now, it's only the PS4, which, for me, is still a selling point because I never had a PS4, so I can finally play those games, and we can do them for the site, and blah, 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 blah. But even then, not yet. I'll wait. It's not Nintendo. Give it a year, it'll be down $150. So, that'll probably be when I strike.
Yeah, Jim will buy the other, like, upgrade to the old Wii U, which, you know, the Switch was one, and then the next one will probably be called, like, the Peekaboo. And Jim will be like, he's great.
No, Brian, will be the Switch U. Get it right.
Exactly. So, yeah, that's...
To my credit, I haven't bought a Switch Lite or any of that bullshit or traded in my old one for that slightly upgraded new one and shit like that.
Of course. Like, you... Next question. You son of a bitch.
You are lazy. Next up, from Sandy N. What were you really into when you were younger, but now think is silly?
Oh, Jim, tell that funny story about all those dicks you liked.
I mean, what if I still like the dicks, though? Then that doesn't apply. Tasty, rich in protein, smooth.
Damn
good
it.
For the skin.
Damn it.
I don't see anything wrong here, Bri. What are you trying to say? Huh?
Nothing, Jim. Nothing.
That's a good question because I still haven't really grown up all the way. So maybe some of the new metal I liked back then, but I still like a lot of it too. Like not even.
Wait, she's talking about. Did she? I didn't even really hear. Did she say music?
No, just stuff in general we like that we think is silly now.
Oh, stuff that we think is silly now. Okay.
Stuff we really liked. I don't know. My basement's kind of a shrine to my youth.
Unfortunately, we all see. I can admit, like, all this shit. Literally.
Oh, no. I mean, I'll let you go. Sorry.
No. The shit of our youth is in general. So, like, how obsessed I was with wrestling. How obsessed I was with video gaming. I mean, it is silly, but I'm fine with admitting that it was silly. Some of the crazy, stupid music. I mean, all music's subjective, but I'll say any of the more one-hit wonder-ish things of that time. It's clothing choices, hair choices.
Bri, your dragon pants and your Jeff Hardy beard.
I will never regret
and your
those,
electrical
Jim.
tape on your thumb.
Jim, how can I regret decisions that got me the pussy?
Got me there. Because you know what? My answer is
Because what decisions did you make that helped you, Jim?
Absolutely none. But
Jim, would you say a silly thing is getting peer pressured into smoking because you like the girl?
yeah, that could be a dumb decision, or just all the Hot Topic that I used to wear and shit like that when I was because I had the arm, the wrist chains, and the long chain going down, the wallet chain on the side, and I think I had a.
Did you really?
Yes, I did. I had the wrist spikes, and I actually had a neck spike choker thing too, and all those.
Wait.
Yes, I did.
There needs to wait. Okay.
I don't think there's a picture of it. I didn't have many pictures taken of me back then.
But here's the deal. Like, I've seen pictures of you, young Jimmy baby, high school Jim was still full like nerd.
Yeah, I was still full nerd.
I met you
too.
early in college. So where did you have time to be turned into this goth kid?
It wasn't even so much goth. It was just like
you had spikes around your neck.
Metalhead mall rat. Nah, I didn't go full bore with like the fishnets and the makeup and that bullshit.
Did you ever paint your fingernails?
No, God no. I like how I say God no to this, but I admit all the other stuff.
Yeah, don't act like you're like God. Who does that? But like, I feel like half your friends probably did do that, Jim.
Oh, yeah, the ones that I had back in the day. Yeah, I mean, this was like sophomore, junior yearish when I was my most mall ratty and hanging out with all the metalheads like that. So, yeah, that'll probably be it. Actually, embarrassingly enough, there was a girl I dated for maybe like a month back in that period, and it was just a thing where I was also more interested in just playing games and being on a phone call. So, obviously, my priorities were in the right spot. But I actually like somewhat kept it going for like an extra week just to make sure that I got my spikes back.
God damn it, Jim.
Probably the pettiest thing I've ever done. One of them.
The only other thing I would throw out there as being silly is I look back at like the amount of fights I got into, the amount of property I destroyed, like stupid, destructive shit. That I look back as silly and regretful. I'll say that.
True, but you're making up for that now with kids who are destroying your home, so.
That's not making up, that's paying it back.
Well, that's what you get, you piece of shit.
So yeah, that is a good question.
Yep, and last up from Gamer Astral. What is the most obscure game that you like that not many people know?
Jim, you have a whole library full of them.
I really do.
Yeah, that wasn't even a ding.
I can do it quick just to buy time for you. I'll say Gamola Speed on the PC Engine. It's like a weird action puzzle-ish game, almost combining like puzzles with Snake. So you go through these levels and you start off as like a head, and you start eating all these pellets to make your snake body longer, and you have to use it to surround enemies, to kill enemies, but also to open doors and keys and items and stuff like that. It's a really wacky concept, and it's a game that like you pretty much only find on the PC Engine, so I'll throw that one out there. And it's still like decently cheap too. It's like $30 if you want to get it complete if you have a PC Engine or shit like that, so it's not a bank breaker either.
All right. I'll throw out. I look at it as obscure because I hear nobody talk about it. An old first-person shooter for the PS2 called Dark Watch. You essentially play as this like priest vampire that's killing all these other monsters, and you use different weapons. And if you think of first-person shooters for the PS2, you generally can probably already have the image in your head of what it looks like. Probably hasn't aged the best. I haven't played it in a couple years. But that's one I always really like. I mean, I thought I loved the concept of it. I was always confused why there wasn't more games. Like, ever since Zombies Ate My Neighbors, I was like, a shooter and monsters go together pretty well. So I was always confused why there weren't more games about that. But yeah, That's a more obscure title.
Yeah, I have heard of that, but you're right. It is one that people don't talk about a lot. Good pick.
Yeah.
Good pick. And with that, we are done the Patreon questions for this week. So,
thank you guys
once
again for everyone who is subscribed to us. We truly, truly appreciate it.
Yep. And if you missed it the first time, patreon.com/DrinkABeerandPlayAGame. $2. You ask a question. Money.
Yeah, that's right. They cut off up until this point. They're like, I need to hear it again. They just jump in
randomly. You never know how it goes with these internets.
All right, you son of a bitch.
I'm a shill for myself.
Anyway, so the first article you threw up here comes to us from Dark Side Brew Crew, and the link is below, talking about 2nd Street Brewery has a solid 2019, and then 2020 happened. It's essentially, to sum it up, it's what we've been talking about a lot of breweries getting hit, and this is a particular one that was just making bank, doing really well, and they got hit hard kind of like everyone else.
Yeah, it's a long article, so we're just going to sum it up real quick. And actually, Astral had sent this to us because he knows some of the guys who run that brewery. So he was like, hey, this would be a cool one to throw on there, because it really shows you from like the brewer's perspective what they're going through right now. And it talks about how they had all these events planned, all these live shows, all these, they had like a new tap room that they were planning. They added like another 120 barrels worth of production and shit like that. And then all of a sudden it ended the world, and, that goes out the window. So it goes into how they've been kind of sustaining with beer pickup to go orders, and every state's been real different. So they are a little bit more lenient in that they've been able to, keep themselves open and do beer takeout and do, drive curbside pickup and all that kind of stuff. So that's how they've been pretty much staying afloat. But even then, at the end, they're just like, yeah, we don't know what's going to go on until they start opening us up, or if they give us any kind of date.
Yeah.
I hate that they called it the zombie apocalypse. So I was like, oh, Brian's going to love that.
Yeah, I saw that, and it made my blood boil a little bit, Jim.
Oh, really?
Because it's a little not little, it's a major exaggeration, but I can't imagine having a business started like these guys and hitting something like this. I mean, and these guys, it doesn't, unless it says in an article and I missed it, I don't know when they first opened up shop. It looks like they're saying fall 2017. So it takes a really long time for a business to become profitable. And even if they're making bank, I mean, with all the equipment and everything, they were probably still net profiting like a very, very small margin. So for this to happen, yeah, that's like Jim and I said. Craft beer is the number one most like booming new business model in America for the past like 5 or 6 years. Especially in 2018, it hit its peak with an ungodly high number of new craft breweries. And, unfortunately, I think you're going to see those numbers easily come in half. Now, doesn't mean all those craft breweries were great or, should have been opened. But I'm hoping the ones that are really the local favorites, people like, that you are going out there, you're supporting it. We've said PA has a nice thing. There's a lot of local breweries that are starting to do deliveries or pick up curbside. So if you do like beer, you can go to the bottle shop. It is a secondary way to support, but maybe just look into your local breweries. Try them out if you never had them. I know I've just found a list for me and Jim to try because they offer a lot of cool like mixed, 4-packs or 12-packs or cases to sample all the different beers from local breweries. So it's kind of like, yeah, just go out and support the local guys during this shitty time. You don't have to. I'm not saying if you don't like craft beer. If you don't like craft beer, you're not going to drink anyway. But if you like craft beer, then, yeah, don't worry about the Stones and the Ballast Points of the world. If you're on the East Coast, stick with East Coast shit. Just a suggestion.
Brian, I'm still mad that you are complaining about the exaggeration that they're comparing a pandemic to a zombie apocalypse. Your stupid thing that'll never goddamn happen.
Jim.
Oh, this isn't gonna be like the reanimated dead coming back to life.
I'm saying, you don't think that's a bit of an exaggeration?
If you went with, like, a normal apocalypse, then yeah, I could see it. But I know in your heart of hearts, you're just like, oh, this one, it would be way worse if zombies were running around.
Would it not?
No, we'd just nuke them.
So Jim, let's walk our mind through this. If it was like the zombie, and if it was like the zombie apocalypse, then it would still be ultra terrible for the old and whatever. But then they come back and try to kill you. So wouldn't that be worse?
They fall apart eventually. Yes, it's just like Corona. It's bad for the old and the fatties. Yes.
So yeah, it's a little worse, Jim. Just say I'm right.
No, I will never say you're right for your stupid made-up story time. Fucking.
All right, then you know what? Let's delve a little deeper into
Terminator will happen before zombies happen. All right, God damn it.
Yeah, but then you basically have metal zombies. That's all Terminator is.
They're not goddamn metal zombies. They're not The Walking Dead. They're just programmed to kill humans.
They're walking things trying to kill you that seem unstoppable. Seems like a zombie to me.
Yeah. You can shoot a robot in the head and it won't kill it because it's made of metal.
Well, if you shoot it with a 50 cal round, it would go down.
Yeah, debatable. Depends on what they're made of.
Yeah, but same as a zombie. What if they got a helmet?
Throw some adamantium on them, or there you go, or unobtainium, or whatever dumb shit you want to make up.
I mean, zombies are even scarier because they infect everyone.
Nah, they don't infect shit.
Robots just kill you once. Jim, do you want to keep going?
I didn't want to go as far into it as we did.
That's what she said. No.
Shit, by the time she's saying that, I'm already done. So joke's on her.
Jim, you never gone that far into anything ever. Make it disappear.
Oh, good.
All right, so yeah, thank you. You said that came to us from Astral. Thank you, buddy.
Yeah,
appreciate that.
He sent us that article.
The next one is another...
Speaking of local...
Actually, really cool example coming to us from breweries in PA. If you like beer and you're in PA, they're like the Twitter thing to follow. They cover all the PA beer news. But they put up here about Weyerbacher, a brewery we've talked about all the time. We love them. And now they're offering 20% off sales to health and emergency professionals, which... I know they're far from me, but if they're close enough to deliver, I may take advantage since my wife falls under that category.
Yeah, that's a good point. You could do that.
But they're fucking far. So
probably abuse the system for your own gain.
How is it abusing it? She is one of these. I mean, she goes
doesn't
into
drink.
work.
She doesn't drink beer.
That doesn't have. That's not in the stipulations.
Uh-huh. Look, if there's one thing I want for my first responders, I want them good and drunk.
Yeah, you want them happy, don't you?
That is very true. They could use it at this point.
No, I'm all for that. And any places in general, if you can, it's a smart move and it's a good look on your end. So,
and who knows? Maybe the ambulance gets to your place a little quicker. You never know. Grease that wheel.
Damn it, Jim.
What?
Damn it.
Scratch
I'm
my
not
bag.
Suggesting drinking on the job.
Oh. Oh, I gravely miscalculated this then.
Son of a bitch. All right, so last one I threw up here. I don't have... we'll put some kind of link below, but it's something that's circulated, and especially by the time this comes out. There's a bar in Maryland that are making all of its patrons and customers use those. They look like those rubber inner tubes, like if you're going down a lazy river or even like tubing down a snow hill with what looks like just PVC pipes and wheels or like a little walker wheels. And that is your way of maintaining 6-foot distances.
It's a baby walker for adults.
It's amazing. The thing I love about it is it's 6 feet if there's two people next to each other. But in the newscast while they're covering it, they have people walking in between them who are the 6 foot is the full not circumference, the diameter of the entire tube. And so the distance between you and that person is really only 3 feet. So it's just, hey man, whatever gimmick you have to do to keep your shit open. The real question is, Jim, say a local place you really loved offered that, would you do that?
Go fuck yourself. I will wear your mask. I will wear your gloves. I will wash my hands until they bleed. I'm not walking around in a goddamn baby walker. I can get drunk at home. I barely want to leave my house as is. This pandemic has been perfect for me. You can go fuck yourself with your fucking baby walkers.
Jim, what if, remember those tubes we put on and bounced into each other? What if you had to wear those?
That was stupid fun, and I would have more fun with doing that. And give me like a beer helmet that won't spill, self-contained.
Oh, that would be awesome. Like, yeah, like what if it was like a self-regulating straw that you put the beer on top? And so you're like constantly bumping into other people, but you just take little sippy straws like a gerbil wheel.
That actually might not be a bad idea to put into strip clubs too, because she can still grind on you, but she's going to have to be bent over in an awkward position, and her head will still be about 4 feet away from you. So you're not going to be risking the coop on that one.
But Jim, how can all the desperate guys edge with that on?
Look, you could probably rub the tube on them enough, and they'll probably edge enough. I know, I can.
Damn it, Jim. Oh, so while we were talking about this, there was something that came up in the news that also, I don't know if you saw, a lot of places are being affected and closing down because of everything. Did you see Mad River's closing?
No. What, the one in Manayunk?
Yep.
Wow, no shit.
Mad River, and for those of you in Philly, you know what it is. For everyone else, it was a bar just on a river that it just was a really cool location to go out, drink. It was a really popular bar. It's been around for as long as we could drink, so
yeah,
many years.
Imagine just like a warehouse that they kind of built up and built out and was just like multi-room, bar, dance floor, kind of ravey almost place.
That went right out to the river, and it was just a really cool bar. And that was one of those places you always figured, like, it'll probably be here forever. Gets tons of people, and they're shutting down for good. So them and a few other places I saw, but I was like, oh, damn. So that really sucks.
Bri, losers like me can't stand in the corner now. Where will we go? Nodding our heads, hoping to dance and never do.
Edging in the corner in your bubble suit.
Shit, I think if I had a bubble suit back then, I would have had a better shot.
All right. So, Jim, there's many good names you could call me, but one is probably not the best at transitioning. Correct?
Funny you use the word transitioning for this next topic.
I actually did not mean it like that, and as soon as I said it, I was like, that's not what I mean here.
Don't cancel me. Don't cancel me.
I don't need to put a link, and if you don't know this, then...
It's the fucking or deer girl. Jesus goddamn it.
Yes, it's a deer... Okay, there's a few levels here, and I wanted to hear your rant, because I'm sure you have a rant built up inside you, like all the other rage that will eventually come out when you go to strike someone and then you fall and hurt your ankle. But the bigger problem here is that Twitch announced a safety council. And that was my first immediate, like, why do you need a safety council for something like Twitch? And they showed all the people that are on it. If that tweet had come up and no one really looked into it, no one would be thinking about it. But everyone realized that there was somebody on here, and I don't know her name, I don't know her handle.
Furiously Steph or something like that.
Okay. But what made the news is that she thinks she's a deer. She's a deer person. So I saw a clip that you liked or commented on.
I did it on a few.
And here's the deal. I wouldn't have known about this if you hadn't said this shit. So once again, you introduced me to shit that I'm like furious about. And when you first introduced it, it was the stupid video where she's getting massaged by her girlfriend or whatever, and like she's like having an orgasm or like making these weird sounds. I thought, and I swear I'm not trying to be mean, I thought it was someone with a mental handicap that was like laughing, and I was like, why is Jim commenting? Like, what the hell?
Oh, she's handicapped. It's not because she's handicapped, but she's fucking cuckoo bananas.
No, but like I thought like everyone's going to say that and there's probably, I mean, after all the
There's
other shit
different
that's
ways that
been
they're
leaked,
saying it too, and I'll get into that.
and everyone's coming out about like things she said were suggesting that every gamer is a white supremacist.
Well,
like there's just
right, we obviously are.
but there's levels to this shit of like the craziness that's coming out of her mouth and things she's done, and the general idea. And my question to you, Jim, before you get on your rant is, one, is there any chance? I think, oh man, did Twitch knowingly do this, knowing like, okay, this checks so many boxes for us from a we're covering all of our bases, and this is a perfect home run because this will probably be a PR craziness. And even if it's terribly received, it gets us a ton more activity on Twitch, even if it's negative activity, because that drives our views, which drives the number of views of advertisers, which sells the shit out of stuff because everyone's now going to rush to her page, even if it's in a hateful manner.
That was going to be exactly the subject of my rant. She is a plant. She was picked specifically for the purpose of bringing out all the shitheads. She is the reason she is there is because every fucking conversation about her, you know, it starts off with, man, this girl's crazy, and then someone writes, correction, he. And that's all Twitch needs to justify having their safety council. You find the most batshit person out there, you throw them out there who checks all the boxes, just like you said. She is obvious bait. She is bait for the shitheads. She is the reason that Twitch will always fall back on to go, this is, you know, well, we have to protect people like this, obviously. And, like, I know her girlfriend was also put on the council, and she was taken off the council, like, a day or two ago. I don't know the back and forth between that or whatever. But I am convinced 100% that this person is bait. She is bait for the shitheads. Every person who comments is encouraging it. And, like, it's just fucking, just stop. I don't need to see the same hot takes on the same video 4,000 times on my goddamn Twitter feed. I get it. She's fucking weird. Twitch probably has thousands of trans people who are perfectly normal that they could have put as an ambassador who could be the check mark for, you know, the trans safety mod person. But they picked the most batshit cuckoo bananas one they could because they know that that's the one that's going to draw all the heat to justify all their bullshit. So it's a thing where it's like a double loss for Twitch, even though at the end it's going to be a net gain no matter what, because it's the attention, like you said. Because if they did it on purpose, and if they, I think this person might, I'm almost on the fence if this person isn't doing a bit somewhat too, but I'm like, if this person isn't doing a bit, then they're exploiting a mentally ill person, and not because she's trans, but because she thinks she's a fucking deer. They're exploiting a mentally ill person to push their stupid agenda, and if they're not doing that purposely, then shame on Twitch, because you didn't do any vetting whatsoever. And I've seen from like our buddy Crooked, who's like, how did this person's page go from 0 viewers to 700 all in one day? Obvious plant. It's a 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 plant. Stop taking the goddamn bait.
Well, and that was my follow-up question is, do you think she's in on the joke? And you kind of answered. Like,
at first I didn't, because there's enough weirdos out there. But then the big video today was from everyone being pissed off that on 420 she did a video where she
like
ate
bit weed.
Yeah. And like she started the video with, I'm gonna do a weed. Like, no one fucking talks like that who's in their like 20s or 30s. Everyone knows what the hell this shit is. They're not talking like goddamn grandpa. So I was like, I think I'm questioning you. I'm thinking it's a bit. So if it's even a bit, then it's even worse of bait. Stop taking the fucking bait.
Well, and that's the thing is like, and then her making that statement about like, and she's claiming, and once again, I don't know the context of what stream she did.
I haven't looked into
with
it
the whole
enough.
White supremacy thing, but she says, to summarize, is essentially like, yeah, like most gamers are basically white supremacist, and that's once again a very quick summarization. Don't know context, why she said it, if she was asked a question, whatever. So that received, like, that clip is being generated around the clip of her, as I said, like showing how she goes out and eats grass, a clip of her eating weed. That, like, there's just so much that feels like, all right, they clearly are like, all right, let's get her to do this. Let's get her to do that. Or, like I said, either Jim said it perfectly, either she's in on the joke and she's playing you all for a fool and you're following through, and everyone that's going. The biggest thing that like people don't recognize, and I don't know why they can't, is when they don't like someone, they start to engage them on things like Twitch, on Facebook Live, on Instagram Live, on whatever. You going on there is actually driving up their viewership and things that make them more popular. Like, the best way to truly, if you don't care, don't mention it, don't follow her. I don't care anyway, because honestly, I think Twitch is completely overrated, if I'm being really honest. And I also feel like there shouldn't be a safety council. Like, if I was somebody on that board and I actually felt like I was trying to do something legit, I would be furious at this shit, the attention that's being brought to her. And I would be like, oh, so this is just a big fucking joke. Like, what is the purpose of this? So, like you said, I think something's going to fall down in flames, but anyone trying to take Twitch serious is getting thrown out the window. And hopefully advertisers recognize that and they start pulling their shit like, okay, I'm not trying to deal with all this.
And like, Twitch is already notorious for having preferential treatment for different creators. Like, Alinity's
for sure.
Alinity's the perfect example. And as a sidebar for me being annoyed is just all the people who are like, how can she be doing a weed video that's allowed on Twitch? It's like, motherfucker, have you ever had a real job and not known about preferential treatment? Like, it's a thing that happens anywhere you're going to goddamn work. I don't know why you think a multi-billion-dollar video game streaming company is going to be some moral high ground on this bullshit.
Yeah,
like, it's not like I'm going to defend Twitch here because, yeah, obviously it's bullshit, but it's like, I guess I expect so little from anything with money that it's like, of course they're going to let this slide. Like, is this really, like, you're not really this mad about the fact that there's weed. You're just mad that either that you can't do it or that you're not getting the attention when you do it. Like, fucking.
Yeah, well, it's that age-old, like, the same people who are bitching may have gotten flagged themselves, or one of their favorite people gotten flagged.
Which is legitimate. Like, that's legitimate. I'm just like anyone who's like a career Twitch streamer who's like complaining about this, it's like, motherfucker, work a real job. It happens there too. Like,
yeah, you lose me there. I respect that people are able to do that, and I'll throw out the term, I'm jealous that someone can do YouTube or Twitch or whatever and make a fucking killing at it.
Same
That's
here.
awesome.
Yeah.
But I don't feel a zero bit of sympathy when these people say, I've lost this, or I can't do this, or my advertisers cut me. It's like, all right, well, the fantasy's over. Time to get to doing real shit. Like, I don't feel like, while I'm not going to sit there and blast you for doing it, like, for making millions, I'm not going to be like, you piece of shit, I can't, like, nope, make your money. That's awesome.
Oh, yeah.
But don't ever ask me to feel bad for you because you got banned or you got your video taken down or you're losing revenue. I could give 2 fucks less. Like, don't even come at me with that shit either.
So, like we said with OnlyFans, if you're gonna take, what people consider easy money, don't expect sympathy.
Oh man, I have a good article. Maybe I'll put it for next time for you for an OnlyFans person.
All right.
But yeah, no,
we can take a week off of OnlyFans.
Except for like I said, whether she, damn it, whether she is doing it on purpose. If she's doing it on purpose, then she's smart enough to do it on purpose.
Very good at it.
She's probably getting bank. If she's not, this will be one of those cases where it becomes a bigger story because now she's being threatened for her life. She feels unsafe. And as you said, it validates the need for a safety council because look at all the hateful people out here. And yeah, like you said, you chose a person that thinks they're a deer. That's okay. Like,
you know what you're doing. You know what the fuck you did.
It's like, cool. You think you're a deer. That like, how do you want people to respond to that is all I'm going to say. And we know how Twitch wants people to respond, and that's how they're responding. So
yep, they went for the easiest bait, and people are taking it.
Good for you, Twitch. You pulled one over on a lot of people.
Well, moving on from that infinitely frustratingness. Let's get into some general gaming topics. So, topical shit. EVO Online, thing we've talked about before. So, EVO this year is the big fighting game competition, and because of COVID, they're not having the in-person event that they normally have. So, because of that, they're doing it online, and funny enough, because of that, a certain big-name title got cut because someone's internet was never made that well.
Oh, this warms my heart. Number one, can we just agree? I don't know your opinion, but doing a fighting game, like esports thing, doing any esports thing online is a terrible idea. If you have someone like me playing against someone like you and you have shitty internet and I have good internet, that's an unfair advantage, period.
Oh, yeah. I mean, it's adding in so many unfair variables and shit like that.
But yeah, so that's the quick, my little take on EVO Online. I know you guys got to do it. You're trying to make it work.
Got to make your money.
You don't want to delay it. I don't know why you can't just delay it a little bit, but I don't understand that world. But yeah, so Super Smash Brothers Ultimate will not be featured because,
Nintendo's Online,
as we've said,
sucks.
Yeah, Nintendo's Online is dog shit, which is why the Switch is overrated.
Yeah, bad.
It is. You can't be a modern console and not have good online capacity. You just can't. Like, say what you will. Your games are great. Your first-party games, cool. Your mobility, your ability to play when you take a poop is cool. But your online is dog shit. Fix it. Yeah, so...
Not too much to say. Killer Instinct's back in. Smash is out. Because, as everyone has basically said, Nintendo doesn't internet.
Yeah, I get it. Like, that, to me, this shouldn't be a shocker.
It's also a thing that shouldn't be a thing, either. Like, they
shouldn't...
still use the same stupid friend number code that they've been doing since, like, the fucking Wii. Like, just get with the goddamn times already. They still make money despite themselves, because the games are so goddamn good.
How many gamers, though, do you think are taking their frustration out on, like, people putting together EVO and not Nintendo?
I don't know. I don't know because I'm not in the fighting or Smash world, so I can't even.
No, but you do. You're very, very heavy in gaming, Twitterverse.
For the most part, I've seen people bashing Nintendo for having shit internet for being a reason.
I feel like, and once again, I only know kind of through you. It seems like a lot of people tend to have, the rose-tinted glasses when it comes to Nintendo and criticizing it. Like, I feel like there's a little bit too much defense and not recognizing it's not that good.
It kind of depends. It depends on the subject and the error, I guess, for Nintendo.
So you think everyone, even Nintendo diehards, recognize that it's a problem?
Yeah, most people recognize pretty much that Nintendo's online setup is, not even with the NES and the Super NES, that's its whole can of worms, but just in general how Nintendo implements the internet, it's always been dog shit.
Okay. Yeah, so I think if you're a person and that was your game and you were really good at it, once again,
sucks to be you.
Sucks to be you, I can't feel bad for you. Yeah, I can't feel like I understand the struggle. It sucks. I can't feel bad for you.
I'll feel bad for them just because they're so ridiculously gung-ho. Like, all they do is play the same game like 12 hours a day to master it, to master split-second timing that I would never think to have to care for. Like, I'll say that's different than just being a Twitch streamer who can, not to say that it's not a skill to just be able to riff and be entertaining, because God knows I can't do that. But it's definitely a skill, but I think there's way more. I feel way worse for these, like, Smash Pro players who can't be part of this now.
See, I actually would probably go the opposite, but that's interesting.
Yeah, that could be an overrated, underrated for a future.
Could be, but yeah, like I said, not a shocker. Just very interesting that made the news. Well, not interesting. It was bound to happen.
Pretty much.
So we are moving on to a segment which I absolutely love, and shout out to our buddy Zotz who actually brought this to our attention. This is once again a situation where video game music or vice versa, general music has been influenced by the culture. And in this particular one, it's funny because we just talked about this last episode. Ken's theme from Street Fighter II being inspired by Mighty Wings by Cheap Trick from the Top Gun soundtrack. And I'm going to play the music here right now. So I just want you to listen to this first little opening piece here. That part is clearly like, it's almost identical. The rest of the song, pretty different departure. But I think, Jim, as you said last time, I could easily see the guy who was, making the music for Street Fighter 2. Maybe he saw Top Gun. Maybe he went out, bought the CD, he's listening to it. Or maybe he just heard the song once or twice, and that opening, that dun 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 dun, and then he built from there the rest of Ken's. But that opening, man, it's almost note for note very similar.
Oh yeah, I forget where I read it. I read it somewhere, but he actually got asked about that, and basically he's like, I didn't directly inspire it from that, but I'm sure I watched Top Gun a few times before I was making the music for this game, and it was probably just buried in the back of my head, and I went, oh well, here's the riff. So he was like, yeah, I mean, I probably got inspired by it. So it wasn't like a direct thing, but it was probably just a tune that was just beaten into his brain.
Yeah, that's
subliminal.
It is, and that's, I mean, what's the old saying? There is no such thing as original creation, just like mild inspiration, or like what I can't remember the exact term, but essentially like there's really no such thing as an original thought. Everything is derivative of something or just emerging of other previous ideas.
Yeah,
in
whatever
one sense or another.
Yeah, whatever that smarter philosopher than us had worded it as.
and you know what? Like,
goddamn,
I don't
love
think
Cheap Trick.
that's
That's a good fucking song too. Goddamn.
That is that's. So here, one of my little light bulbs, Jim. I don't know how I'm going to do this or how I'm going to think about this, but next episode, what I want us to do is pick like a couple fighters from any fighting game. It could be Street Fighter 2. And think of instrumental tracks that you like personally that you would use as their opening song.
Okay.
And see what you would be inspired. Like, if you were given this character, so think of it like you're the sound engineer, and they're like, all right, here's this guy, Ken. What would you give him as music? And try to find, like, instrumental tracks, and maybe we'll figure out a way to implement it. But I think that would be an interesting take, like, to what your taste would be.
You know what? I don't think I'll be too bad at doing this because, like, back when, I was a, young teenager playing with my wrestling toys and we didn't have the WWF CDs at that time, I would just be picking songs from, the radio that I had recorded onto, like, my tape deck and would start using them as entrance music.
Yeah.
Like for Savio Vega, I used Boricua Boea by Big Pun because Los Boricuas and shit like that. So
there you go. Yeah, see? That's something to that effect.
Yep.
So I don't know how we're going to do it.
Maybe we'll pick one character and give our... Let's do it that way. Let's pick a character and then we'll come in with the songs that we picked for it. And then the peanut gallery can decide who did a better job.
So what we'll try to do is, once again, just do, even if it is a vocal song, like, only use the audio track. Does that make sense?
Yeah, sure.
Especially since it's limited to, if your thinking was inspired by the vocals, that's fine. But for the purposes of showing it, like, we'll kind of show the start screen with them, and we'll put the music to it. So maybe we'll do that. We'll do back-to-back videos, have you guys vote on it, and we'll go. It'll just be fun to see. So.
I like how you yell at me all the time about burp talking, and you just did it like 17 times there,
dude,
which I could hear through my goddamn earphones.
I know. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to do that. Here's the deal. I went through both of my tart monkeys, and I was fine. Didn't have to burp once. I took about 4 or 5 sips of this Bud Light Platinum, already burping my ass off. So I apologize.
But yeah,
no, that was a great find.
Yeah, we'll think of a
character.
We'll think of a character. But yeah, thank you, Zots.
Yeah. All right.
Next up, coming to us from ScreenRant.com, and not a lot to say here, but the Switch has already outsold the N64 and the GameCube combined.
I'm a little shocked. I mean, so the Wii is still there. is Wii the best selling, or is the original NES?
For Nintendo, the Wii is the best selling. Maybe the DS
Okay.
beat it, but they're like 1 and 2. It's the Wii and the DS. However, it's flip flopped. I still think it's the Wii.
So GameCube doesn't shock. If this article said GameCube and Wii U, I would be like, yeah, obviously. I thought the N64, and I'm sure maybe it's in here. I thought the N64 was like the second or third best-selling console.
No.
No, they weren't.
No,
okay,
the N64 only did like 33 million units.
Oh, only, Jim?
I mean, look, we're in a day and age where only 33 million units is an only.
Yeah. So, okay, so Switch sold 55
considering
million.
the PlayStation 1 in the same era sold 100 million, then you can say only.
Okay, true. So, yeah, and even that, and I know we discussed that previously, I didn't think the gap between, like, for some reason in my mind, I thought, like, everyone had an N64. I didn't think everyone had a PS1. I for some reason, I guess I just thought the N64 sold better than it truly did. I didn't realize that.
It's almost weird because I think, like, Philly area, like, everyone we knew, you and me, and we didn't grow up together, so we had completely different groups of friends.
Yeah.
Everyone had N64s, and we're all playing all the party games. And maybe, like, one out of every, like, 4 or 5 friends would have a PS1, but...
Exactly. Like, so that's where, yeah, okay. Like, I know in Japan, I think, didn't the PS1 sell better, and that was, that guy who made that statement about saying how everyone's depressed who plays PS1. But, yeah, okay. I mean, it makes sense now. Now that I know the real numbers, okay. And I just like subtly, well, not so subtly, they just blast the shit out of the Wii U in this article, because it's so true.
You know what? The marketing was dog shit. 13 million sales of 13 million sales. What are you going to do?
Make a better console, Jim, which is what they did.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah.
So
can't argue it.
Good for you. I mean, Switch, like I said, I'm happy because I never want to. I give Nintendo shit all the time. I never want to see them fall out of place or not be in business or not be developing consoles. Even if I bust their balls about their shitty online, whatever. Like, I don't ever want that to be a thing where Nintendo is a former thought. Like, I want my kids to be able to grow up and still get new Nintendo consoles along with Microsoft, Sony, and whatever else comes along.
They will, because even when the Wii U was bombing, the 3DS line still sold like 80 to 100 million units, and they had amiibos selling out like ass, and all the Super NES and the NES minis that sold like crazy. So they still make their money, even if they have.
They know. Yeah, they know how to make money. That's for sure. Yep. All right, so
we talked about this 2 episodes ago, so I was like, let's do it.
Yep. So we are going to be hitting up our reoccurring bit, which is better, and it's between Jim's beloved TurboGrafx 16 or the N64. Jim, I'll let you go first.
All right, Brian. Big question here. Are we talking the TurboGrafx 16 itself, or are we talking the entire PC Engine?
Well, Jim, you wrote the question.
I wanted to put it in because, all right, here.
Neither one changes, so go ahead.
No, it does change. Because
it doesn't.
No, it does.
Absolutely
it
not at all. Because once again, as two young men who grew up in Northeast Philly, that's the context we're framing this. So we will once again say
because
it absolutely
as
does
gaming
not
aficionados
matter.
that we are, and the professionals
We're
that
not.
we are. In this...
We are not professional. We're not gaming aficionados. And I don't even care if you want to throw Japan in there. It don't make it. You can show me sale numbers. You know that's never been the crux of the argument.
Here's the thing. If we're just talking strict TurboGrafx 16, and I'll throw the TurboGrafx CD in there, the N64 is still a better console. It had more games, it had a better library, it had more stuff that you want to play. If we're talking the PC Engine, though, including the PC Engine CD and all those games, which is like 800 some, the PC Engine library is way better than the N64's. So
okay, you know what? Just for the sake of it, I'll let you try to slap together a shitty house made of PC Engine argument, and I'll use N64.
Okay, so
So your basic argument is that because it had a large library, it was a better library.
it had a larger library and it had a more diverse library. The biggest things that people bash the N64 for is the lack of fighting games, the lack of RPGs, and the fact that the graphics haven't aged well because it was in that weird stage of early 3D. So with the PC Engine, you have timeless 2D, beautiful graphics, and if you throw the PC Engine CD on there, then you have CD quality sound with the games. You have multiple games from every single genre possible and lots of rip-offs of, games that you would have found on the Nintendo console at the time. So, instead of Gauntlet, you have Dungeon Explorer. Instead of Zelda, you have Netopia, blah, 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 blah. So the turbo graphics would basically give you everything that you would have gotten from the N64, only just a lot more of it and a lot more diverse. And even if you want to go with multiplayer games, you get a turbo tab, and then you can have, you can play 5-player Bomberman or 5-player Battle Royale, their wrestling game, which no one would ever want to do. But you still have the party game ability there too, even though it isn't obviously as much of a big thing there as it was for the N64. It's just a better overall library. Even though I personally like the N64 more, the PC Engine has the better library.
Are you thrilled?
I am completed.
Okay. So let's go point by point with what you said. One, it was a system that basically just did knockoffs of better games. So there's your library. There's a good portion of your library.
A good knockoff's a good game.
Two, I can't remember. Remind me all those classic first-party games that still live on today that were perpetuated by that system. Because I can name a couple from N64. Can you name any from the PC Engine?
East? Maybe
Oh, wait,
East.
what was the name of that?
East? I'll say
What-
East. East is still around.
Oh, is it? Cool, because nobody's heard of that.
Oh, RBG Dorks.
Oh, wait. No, you're right. You're right. I'm sorry. What's that dear girl's name? I'm sure she loves that system. I'm sure she's a big proponent. That's a great system. There's only a few titles that are pretty
Splatterhouse,
okay
your
on
precious
the
Splatterhouse
N64.
started there. Sported there.
It was from the arcade, then it went there. So yeah,
True.
once again, it ported something nice. It was a good like hand me down, kind of like your sock radio. It's like, okay, you can do secondhand stuff, cool. You can't create original content like the N64
Bomberman's
could.
still around.
Let me ask you this, Jim. Remind me, because you know me, getting older, my memory's terrible. What were those really great wrestling games that are so timeless that was on the PC Engine? I forget. What was the name of them? Fuck, I can't remember.
We
them.
need some help on this one.
Huh. It's all right, because while you're thinking about
But
that...
I mean, what were those great shmups that were on the N64 then? What were those great RPGs?
I can't remember because me and my friends were too busy doing all those fun party games. Because, what was that good kart racer on PC Engine? Or that good,
Final Lap Twin?
Smash-style fighting game? What was that? Huh, I can't think of those.
Wasn't a genre around then. Wasn't a genre. It was a thing.
And, it's funny because you mentioned graphics. And, so PC Engine basically was like, hey, Super Nintendo looks pretty good. We can do that and maybe a tiny smidget better and add a CD component.
No, it was an upgrade to the NES. It was way before the Super NES.
But we're...
Learn your timetables,
okay.
Brian.
That's fine. I mean, Jim, I'll admit many things. I'm not a perfect history aficionado, and especially for things that are irrelevant like the PC Engine. But here's my other question. Like, you're blasting the 3D graphics of the N64, but would you not say games like Mario 64 revolutionized the 3D camera and helped instill the way we use them in most games moving forward?
Oh, of course.
So what was that camera system they did in PC Engine? Because I forget.
Didn't need it because it had fixed cameras because it was 2D, because it was perfect.
That's right, because it just copied other systems from an 8-bit era. That's what it was. Okay. So you got all that. And you know what? I'll even concede to you. The sound might even be better on that system. But that's okay. But where is your goddamn Rumble Pack? Did you have a Rumble Pack? Because I don't think you had a fucking Rumble
Nah,
pack.
you'd be right. There was no Rumble pack.
And did every one of your friends growing up have a PC Engine, Jim?
Right.
Could you go over Billy's house and say, yo, pop in whatever knockoff of this game. Let's play it on your PC
Well,
Engine.
Bri, as someone who didn't grow up with friends, I don't think I can't even answer this question, so I might just have to plead the fifth. For all I know, there could have been a booming PC Engine fan base.
And, you know, arguably, whether it's aged well or not, did it help develop one of the best early first-person shooters? Because I know PC Engine had its game. I just can't remember it once again. What was that called?
For what, first-person shooters?
Yeah.
Fucking got me.
So, man. I mean, it seems like the PC Engine might have lost. Don't you think, Jim?
Nah, better library overall. More complete.
Hey, listen, just having numbers doesn't mean shit. You gotta have games that everyone knows. Like, that's like saying, oh man, like we have the best restaurant in the world, but only 5 people have ever been there because it's exclusive, and all we did was copy another restaurant's menus, but they're really good knockoffs. That doesn't cut it. You need something that people have tried. That everyone across the world has said, yep, these games are time-tested and proven. You use that expression with the PC Engine, but most people haven't really played it, who are especially in the United States. And as you said, TurboGrafx 16, I actually like a lot of the games on that system, but that's a poor, comparison to even the PC Engine.
Right, it's a poor version.
So, so it's like, whether it was a system. Now, if you had asked me, is the PC Engine underrated? I could have maybe agreed with you. But if you try to say it's better than the N64, come on, man. The only other thing I can give the PC Engine, it has a better controller. Because, N64 controllers dog shit. But, other than that, yeah.
I can only imagine the grin you had on your face as you were about to say that. I can see it right now. I'll see it when the playthrough happens and I comment on the video. I'll see it. I'll see that goddamn grin.
So, yeah, at the end of the day, the N64 is better. And I personally... Because here's the deal. If you want to use the argument that a library defines how much better a system is, then right off the bat, you just say, like, any modern console is better than any retro console. Especially when you can backplay old games. And there's old arcade style of those games. And there's new games. And there's, like... That can't just be the argument. You need some other context in there as well. At least in my opinion. Depends how you're framing the argument.
Yeah, but it's also weird with these two consoles because there was no backwards compatibility of any kind, so you really are just looking at the consoles themselves.
Yeah, of course. But, no, that's I forget, did somebody ask us that, or how did that come up?
We were doing another one that was trying to rip my heart out of my soul, and then you're like, oh, next time we should do your precious TurboGrafx versus the N64. And I was like, it's not a bad idea.
I liked how you weren't really willing to say anything bad about the N64.
Why would I? I love the goddamn
You're just like staying quiet about it. Oh,
I love my N64.
Good topic.
Poor little fella gets beat up too much.
Hey man, you can always throw mine in there, but like you tried to before, you fucked that up. So good topic, Jim. Speaking of good topics, so we'll continue on with another recurring bit, and we're going with the overrated, underrated, and Jim put this in here, and I know you're inspired by Streets of Rage 4.
That is exactly how I got inspired by it.
With the 1cc runs. Now, Jim, if someone doesn't know, why don't you quickly explain what that means?
Basically, you know what? I actually have it. Basically, it means it's like from the old arcade game days where you just pop in 1 quarter and you just try to beat the entire game based on that one life or that one continue that you have.
Basically, no additional continues.
One credit clear. That's what it stands for.
Yeah. So if you don't, you can build up multiple lives, especially in games like Street Rage 4,
No continues.
which is the
No
whole
continues.
purpose, but no continues. You can have as many lives as you earn points for. You just don't continue. And is it overrated or underrated? Jim, since you got torn apart last time, I'll let you go first in this argument. Not even that it's an argument. We might have the same opinion like we did last time.
See, this is weird because it's not like it's overrated because you'll never find someone who's like, oh, you didn't really play a game unless you once see it. Like, it's a niche category. Like, it's as niche as it gets. You only see it mostly in arcade fans and definitely in shooter fans. So, and like you said, I brought up because of the arcade mode in Streets of Rage 4 where there's no continues. You just get some lives, you can build more, but got to beat the game with the lives that you have.
Okay, so wait, Jim, you know what? I think you and I were about to have the same feeling. So I'll let you take underrated and I'll take overrated.
Okay, that's fine.
I have to think how to frame it, but go ahead.
All right. So I'm underrated, right?
Yeah.
All right.
Because honestly, if I'm going with my honest opinion, I'd probably go underrated. But to try to play devil's advocate, I'll try to make an argument for overrated.
Yeah, you know what? Maybe I would say, okay, just for me doing underrated. For me doing underrated. I can't talk. So I've been doing this for 65 episodes. I can't do nothing. But
Careful.
Easy. It's got sand. But yeah, it's underrated because the reason it's underrated is because of the dedication and the passion that it takes to actually be able to do it. And when you like to have the ability and the skill set, for one, it's a skill set, and then two, it becomes memorization and then muscle memory. And to just put that level of time and effort, you can't really take away from a person who really tries that hard to be that good at a game. And then you get to the even more weirder subsets of 1cc runs where it's like 1cc no hit. Because you'll see them where people will try to play through, like, say, Gradius on the NES. NES.
Is that like the PC Engine?
There were games of the Gradius life on the PC Engine. There's Salamander. I think some of the Gradius games might have made its way over there. But, where you go through an entire game and you know it so well that you don't even get hit. Not like you don't die. You don't get hit. So that's a level of... It's something that I could never do and I would never do, but I can't take away the passion that a person would have to try and actually do that. So that's why it's underrated, just because of the effort it takes to actually do it. The effort and the skill, because you need skill. You got to be good.
Okay. My basic argument would say overrated. And I do agree with what Jim's saying, so it's not like I'm trying to argue Jim's point. What I'm suggesting is the same way that I feel video games in general are a form of escapism. You play it for enjoyment. You play it for whatever. To me, if you're doing these 1cc things and you're trying to do it, if you're just doing it on a whim and saying, like, can I play, like Jim's trying to do right now with Streets of Rage 4.
Right.
He's like, can I do it? If I know you well enough, you're going to do it. You're going to be like, cool, I did it. And then you're probably not going to then turn around and be like, now let me do it with every single character.
Yeah, like...
You may turn around and be like, hey, Bri, maybe me and you can try to do it, or, like, play it with somebody else, but you on yourself are not going to then turn around and be like, well, now I got to do it with every character. Now I got to do it, like you said, no hits. You're not going to get to that level. You're going to see, can I do it once? You'll do it once. You did it, and you walk away from it.
Yeah. I mean, what do you call it? If I can get through Streets of Rage 4 arcade on medium, if I get through it, I'll be like, I'm good. I don't need to do it on hardware or any of that shit.
So that level of player, I understand and I get. And it's truly, even a game like Streets of Rage 4, it's not impossible. Like, honestly, you could probably do it in a handful of playthroughs. It's not going to take you weeks and weeks and weeks or months and months and months. It's going to be... You're just going to do it one day. So when I think of the 1cc people, though, that get to the level you're describing, I honestly almost compare them to, like, vegans. In the sense that you're limiting yourself by locking yourself into one specific thing, and you're only doing that thing, and you're hyper-focusing on it, and you're not enjoying anything else out there. and you're only like, I need to like get the best at this. And my whole situation is like, what does it matter? When you did it in the arcades, it was literally a way of saving money. But in the same idea, you were probably playing that game hundreds, if not thousands of times to be able to do that, spending who knows how much money. So it's like you're not truly saving money. And I don't know. I'm just torn because it's overrated because I feel like it's detrimental because you're not allowing yourself now. You've beaten the games who knows how many times. Let's say the best one CCer in the world still needs to play the same game 30 to 40 times just to get through it. You could have gone and tried other games. Even if you really love the game. Like I don't like someone who just limits himself to one thing. So I don't like the idea of it because at the end of the day, it doesn't mean anything. Being the best person in the world at Streets of Rage 1 means nothing today because now there's Streets of Rage 4. Like, if you know for sure that's going to be the only thing, don't spend all the time in the world. If you can get paid for it, different story. If you can set a world record and goes back to you get paid for it, cool. But if you're just doing it for your personal achievement, unless that's your only form of achievement in life, which I can't fault you. Everyone has their own systems of feeling good about like getting something done. Do what you gotta do. But honestly, like, don't waste your time. Jim and I talked about us being achievement hunters, and to me, that's the same as being a 1cc chaser. If you found your one game you love and you're not going to play anything else, then do what you got to do. But like I said, I think that's a bit overrated because I feel like you're just missing out on everything else you could be playing while you're trying to be the perfect player at, Golden X2. It just, to me, it doesn't make sense.
Yeah, what do you call it? Like, as we were talking through it a little bit, I was like, if I had to take a side, I probably would have said overrated for what you said. You're just dedicating all your time to one thing. And if that's how you get your enjoyment out of it, but, the feeling of accomplishment, then cool, yeah, have at it. But to me, it just seems, it almost seems like unnecessary. It's definitely unnecessary, but I don't know. It's just a mindset I can't fully grasp. Like, we have a buddy called, like, on Twitter and YouTube called Shmup where that's his gimmick. Like, he loves, shmups, he loves shooters, and he'll challenge himself to have, like, world record runs or no-hit runs. He spent a good 6 months doing a original Star Fox 100% no damage run. And, like, I was following him, and he would talk about how, like, he got to, like, Andros, and he got hit. And he was like, God damn it, the run's ruined. And I'm just like, dude, I can't imagine going through that much hell and then, losing at the 11th hour, basically, like that. So that's a level of dedication I'll never know, but just to think of all the other stuff you could have done with that time.
Is there any part of you that's not only that you don't know, but that you don't understand, you almost feel bad for?
Well, I mean, if it's a YouTuber doing it, and I'll use Shmup again, unfortunately, for this, like, he put 6 months of work into getting his 100% run, and only got 2,500 views out of it, which, shit, I would love to get 2,500 views on a video that we do, but it doesn't mean, even someone who does get, okay, best case, he gets 1 million views. Okay.
What next? He spent 6 months, like, unless it's his only source of income, I go back to what are you actually, like, if he can set a record, that's a concrete record. If it's a personal achievement, then yeah, you dictate to yourself what's the most important. But if it's just for, like, I especially hope it's not just for YouTube.
No, I'm sure it wasn't. Like, there's no way that you're doing, unless, like, the completionist, like, that's his gimmick. He 100%s games of, like, every sequence and shit like that. Like, that's the gimmick of his channel. But I think for most people, it's just, like, a passion. I want to do it for this game kind of deal.
Gotcha.
It's like what we said before with me with, like, beating Hotel Mario. Like, it wasn't fun, but when I got through it, I was like, all right, I had that sense of accomplishment at least that I did do it.
Yeah, and I totally get that. But even Hotel Mario, best case, maybe you spent, 20 hours on it?
Yeah, probably less than that, but yeah, I know what you mean.
Yeah. So
I spent 5 fucking hours on that goddamn last Bowser fight. I know that for goddamn sure.
Yeah. But at the end of the day, like I said, it's really tough. If it's a skill thing, you're skillful enough, I'll say you're underrated at a skill level. But if it's for anything else, I kind of feel like it's just overrated.
Yep.
All right, so before we hit the final topic, the beer we went through, Tart Monkey, I don't really need to talk about. I spoke enough about on Beer Battle, and there's going to be a review up on our site. If you haven't visited it, please visit it at DrinkABeerandPlayAGame.com. Delicious beer, very easy to drink, very sessionable. And then because I was out of those, I switched over to Bud Light Platinum because this is the lowest ABV I got at 6%. We've talked about Bud Light Platinums. They're fine. They are better than the regular Bud Lights. Has a little bit more alcohol, but there's nothing too much crazy I can say about it.
All right, and for my Hardywood single, this is actually a pretty good blonde ale, and weirdly enough, I think it's like a nice gateway. It's, you know what it is? It's a blonde ale for people who like IPAs, because there's definitely more of a mouthfeel, more of a little hop bitterness, like especially on the initial tongue portion. Not so much in the back end, but like if you're a person who's used to IPAs, but like you typically don't like ales, if you drink this one, you'll probably have a lot to like there.
Yeah, I'll have to give it a try.
Yeah, it's pretty good. And my closeout beer is just going to be a Keystone Light.
Of course, Jim.
Of course it is. Got a gimmick, bro. At least it's not a Smirnoff.
You're supporting local.
I always support local. I could get a Twisted Tea half a hand.
Damn it. So, if you're watching this episode, check the link below. We're closing out the episode the same way we did last time. I went through, I chose a new tier maker to use. Yes.
www.DrinkABeerandPlayAGame.com, where for as little as $1 a month, you can take part.
Patreon.
Oh, fuck
You
me
just
in
said
the
our
ass.
site.
God damn. See, this is what happens after 3
shut
beers.
the fuck up and wait. You can get to your little shtick because while you're watching the YouTube, you can see what the link is we used. We had our Patreons submit their tiers to us, but essentially it is the best NES games, and link is below. If you would like to submit to us for the next Patreon, as Jim said, you go to patreon.com/
DrinkABeerPlayAGame, $1 tier,
There
so anyone can do it basically.
And after Jim and I give our opinions on ours, we will pick the winner from our Patreons. So this one, we had no control over the games they selected. Whoever created this just seemed the more reasonable that I saw.
At first, I thought it was like the NES Mini, and then they threw some other bullshit on there, so I was like, okay.
Yeah, there's a lot of games I probably would have left off or added. But once again, that's not the point of it. I'm not trying to create it unless you want me to, which Jim has already discussed on the previous podcast. But let's get into it. So this time we're doing a little different. I'm going to just read off mine. Jim's going to compare his, and then we'll say who is the best from the ones that sent it to us from our Patreon. All right, so going through my tier, Jim, I had Mega Man 2 as an S.
All right.
Is that the same as you?
Yes. I have an S.
All right, Ninja Gaiden as an S.
I have that as an A.
Okay. Legend of Zelda as an S, obviously.
I have that as an A.
Really?
Yeah.
For historical importance and just how fun it is, you still only have it as an A?
Just because some of it's impossible if you didn't have Nintendo Power. And that always just pisses me off.
That's true, but I'll be honest. When I was a kid, I didn't play it far enough to even get to that point. And by the time I did play it, where everyone knew the secrets or you whatever.
Oh, same here, but it's the principle
fun.
of the matter. God damn it.
Contra S.
S.
Punch Out S.
S.
Super Mario 3 S.
S.
Super Mario 1 S.
I have that as A.
Really? Even though historically even bigger than any game on this list?
Oh, yeah, historically, yeah, but it's a little bare bones, so I dropped it to an A.
Wow. Your logic's terrible. And Castlevania 3 Dracula's Curse S. All right. That ends the S's for me.
Okay. I have... Which Mega Mans did you have? Did you have just 2 or did you add another one?
Just 2.
Okay, because S's that I had was Mega Man 3.
That's an A for me.
All right. I had Super Mario 2.
Oh God, that's a B.
A B. Ugh. Blatant disrespect.
Yeah.
Kirby's
Well, you had. I mean, the fact that you had Super Mario as a.
Super Mario 2's
the
better.
fact that
Mario
you
2's
put
better.
2 over. Wow.
2's better
The
than 1.
soundtrack isn't even comparable.
Oh, dude, that is a great soundtrack on 2.
It's great, but it's below Super Mario 1.
Maybe not as overall as iconic, but it's still quality-wise just as good.
You're right. So I win, so go ahead.
All right. I have Kirby's Adventure at S.
I have that as a C. Of the Kirby's I've played, that is the one I've played, I'll say, the most, other than the one on Super NES. And, yeah.
All right.
Just not for me.
And I have Castlevania 1 as an S.
I have that as a A. And being the only one between us that beat it, I think it's super iconic. But yeah, it's funny because you talk bare bones with Super Mario. That game is just hard. And the controls are pretty rough in it.
Yeah, I mean, I might be overrating it a little bit. I'll give that for Castlevania 1.
Yeah. All right. So for my A, I have Mega Man 3, as I already said. I have Castlevania. I have Super C as A.
I have that as an A.
I have Double Dragon as A.
I have that as an A.
Simon's Quest as an A.
I have Simon's Quest as a C. Just because that's another one where you don't know what's going on unless you have Nintendo Power. Even though I love the concept, but
I mean, the game, if you ever went through and actually beat it, and you get over the the need for Nintendo Power, it is a really, really good game.
Oh no, it's definitely it's underrated in the general scheme of things, but yeah.
I gave Metroid an
A. Where do I have Metroid? I have that as a B.
Okay. And Battletoads is an A.
I have that as an A.
Okay.
So I have Ninja Gaiden 3. Or no, Ninja Gaiden 2 is an A.
Okay. I have that as a B.
All right. I have the original Final Fantasy as an A.
I have that as a B.
And that's the only one we haven't discussed yet. So.
Okay. So for B, I have the original Mega Man as a B.
I have that as a C.
Really?
Yeah, the soundtrack it doesn't hold up to the others. It's again with the bare bonesness, and then fuck the Yellow Devil unless you use that pause cheat.
Okay. I have Legend of Zelda 2 as B.
I have that as a B.
I have Bionic Commando.
I have that as a C. I never liked Bionic Commando.
Yeah, I was always like, I was fun. I was good at it. I didn't think I had much depth, but it was a fun game for me.
It's good.
And I liked the concept.
Yeah, I think I hate it more than most, but yeah, it's a good game, but I just never liked it.
I have Final Fantasy as a B.
Right.
Super Mario 2 as a B. Right. Duck Hunt as a B.
Really? I have Duck Hunt as a C.
I love Duck Hunt. And I know it's simple, it's gimmicky, but that zapper, that dog, just everything about, I loved it. As a kid, the idea of, using a gun to shoot your TV, I don't know, I just loved it.
Bro, you're like Homer changing the channels.
Yes. Ghosts and Goblins as a B.
I have that as a C.
And I can understand that. I fucking hate this stupid double trick of an ending. Otherwise, it's fine. I think it's a bit of an overrated game, and I think anything over a B is definitely overrated.
Oh, yeah.
Excite Bike, I have it as a B.
Really? I have that as a C.
So, I love the amount of replayability with creating your own tracks. And if you ever played it as a kid, where you would create stupid tracks for your friends, that's where all the fun comes in. It's not from just playing by yourself.
Gotcha.
Ninja Gaiden, whatever one we didn't talk about.
2. Yeah.
Yeah. I have that as a B.
Okay.
Dragon Warrior I have as a B.
I have that as a B.
Strider I have as a B.
I have that as a B.
And Bomberman.
I have that as a B. All right. The only one I think that... so my Bs were Zelda 2, Strider, Metroid, Bomberman, Dragon Warrior for all the ones we already talked about, and I have Dr. Mario as a B.
Okay. Yeah, I have Dr. Mario as a C.
Yeah, I don't even love Dr. Mario, but like I just know people. It's got its fans, so.
Oh yeah, yeah. So for me, full disclosure, I have no D's, so probably any C's I say that we haven't talked about, Jim will have as a C or D, but we'll go through.
Yep.
Kirby's Adventure I have as a C. Donkey Kong I have as a C.
I do too.
Gyro, what is
Gyromite.
it? Gyromite I have as a C.
I have that as a D.
I have basically limited to no knowledge of the game, but I like the gimmick of using Rob, and I'm sure if I had a Rob, if it worked,
You didn't have a lot of
it would be
options,
kinda neat.
so you better have liked it.
Dr. Mario, C, like I said. Ice Climber I had as a C.
I have that as a D. I never liked Ice Climber.
I don't get the obsession with that game. I still don't get why the hell they're in Smash.
I think that's something that Miyamoto probably likes more than any gamer actually ever liked.
Yeah. Kid Icarus I have as a C.
Yeah, I have that as a C.
Pac-Man, C.
Pac-Man got fucking raped by our patrons. People hated Pac-Man, but I have that as a C. Like it's Pac-Man. It's fine. It's a perfectly fine version. I get why maybe you don't like it, but it's fine.
It's dog shit compared to the arcade, and I even think I prefer the Atari version over it.
The Atari version is more interesting, and like I don't know why Pac-Man's on the NES Classic. No one thinks of Pac-Man when you think of the NES.
No, but yeah, whatever.
Right.
And then Metal Gear I have as a C because I'm going through that game right now, and gotta tell you, for a game that spawned such a great franchise, that first game, I don't know how it made it past.
Well, the MSX version spawned a franchise. The NES one didn't.
Yeah.
What do you call it? Yeah. My C's are Bionic Commando, Simon's Quest, Excite Bike, Donkey Kong, Duck Hunt, Ghosts and Goblins, Pac-Man, Kid Icarus, and Mega Man 1. And then my D's are Metal Gear, Ice Climber, and Gyromite. Because, no, fuck those games.
Yeah. So that's our tiers, but as far as picking one that won, Jim and I looked. It was a little tougher this time because everyone had a little something here and there. But I think we actually settled on our buddy Todd, a.k.a. Snarkcast.
Redemption for his horrific Streets of Rage list and massive disrespect to Max.
Yeah. But it's funny because the only things I'll mention is, yeah, he does the same thing as you with Legend of Zelda.
Pretty much.
I like he recognizes Super Mario 2 as a B.
That's.
I'm kind of shocked he put Punch-Out as an A. And the picture's going to be here. But he has the same thinking of you as Super Mario Brothers. Yep. I'm shocked he has Bionic Commando as an S. There must be something there that he really liked. That was a game he must have connected with as a kid.
Nostalgia. Yep.
It's crazy to me that he put Double Dragon as a C.
Yeah, I'm surprised too. Maybe, yeah, I don't know. Because Double Dragon,
other than that,
it's simple,
everything
but it's
else,
fun.
Yeah, everything else on there, for the most part, jives. I mean, you and I think have a worse opinion of Kid Icarus, but everything else is kind of in line with one of us.
Yeah, I think his Kid Icarus is definitely overrated there, and Ghost and Goblin. Wait, no, wait. It's Ghost and Goblins. Where's that at? I thought I just saw it. I think I might have lost it. I'm doing your stupid squint eye thingy right now, but yeah, regardless. Like, I put his as my favorite just because, like, he gave a little bit more leniency to Pac-Man, and he didn't put like Bomberman and his D's more lined up. Even though I will say he's kind of beating up on Dragon Warrior and Strider, and I know he has a hate boner for Dr. Mario, which I'm actually fine with because I don't like Dr. Mario, but I was just trying to be a little more fair with it, so that's why he got my vote. I do.
So once again,
pardon me. Sorry.
God damn it, John.
But I do like that almost across the board, Gyromite just got. Wait, actually, no. Todd had it as a C, but Gyromite was a bottom feeder for almost everybody.
Yeah, and mine was honestly just because if I had probably played it and it sucked, it would definitely been a D.
Bomberman getting some massive disrespect for some people now. Ugh.
Yeah, I get it. I mean, everyone has a different opinion. And like I said, if you guys want to weigh in, cast us your opinions on future tiers. We make it up usually at the beginning of the week, send it out to our Patreons, and we're going to vote on it at the following podcast. So check the links below. And with that, guys, I think we're going to close it out. Thank you for following us. And if you do listen to us on iTunes, please give us a rating. Make sure you're subscribed. And until next time, cheers.
Cheers, guys.